says starting just. Oh, of course, it starts right as I start talking. Hey, everybody, this is CJ, and welcome to the long-awaited 4th episode of the Hybrid Network Show, where we talk about pretty much anything going on in comics. Got a really, I guess, kind of a big show tonight because we've missed out on so much stuff over the last 4 weeks because it's just been a crazy time for myself and Josh. A little bit crazy for everybody else as well. So we missed you guys. We hope you guys tune in at some point over the next 30 minutes. And join us for this. Brief rundown of our topics today. We're going to talk about all of the crazy Suicide Squad set picks that have come out, as well as Jai Courtney's comments on it. We're going to talk about some Hugh Jackman comments on the upcoming Wolverine movies. Jason Statham is possibly Bullseye, but not really anymore going to be Bullseye. And then we will wrap it up with a brief discussion about what Marvel and DC are doing in their comics right now. Of course, Secret Wars going on, and DC just finished up Convergence. Lots of mixed reviews on that series as a whole, but the new books are pretty damn good. I literally, pretty much my life for the last 3 days has been reviewing DC Comics. Yeah, let's get started, guys. So first we're talking about Suicide Squad, I believe, and specifically Jai Courtney's comments on Suicide Squad. But before we get into it, do you guys want to talk about the set picks? And especially since they've now, I guess, just this week they finished. I think they've wrapped up filming in public locations.
Oh, they did?
I think in Toronto, at least, from what I know.
Hello?
I think they've moved on to other spots because today actually some Deadshot photos came out where he's doing a grappling sequence. So
I think I misunderstood those comments. They are still shooting in public, but I don't know.
I think a few days ago we also had the Batman on top of like a Joker's Lamborghini set.
Joker's Lamborghini with the weird like fetus decal on the side. That's waiting to see how that ties back in. But I mean, that was a really cool thing because it was a stuntman. Of course, a couple weeks ago we saw Batman actually on set, but this was a stuntman in the suit. No cape on his suit, I'm pretty sure, just so it doesn't cause problems, and they'll add it in post for that scene at least.
yeah.
It looks really cool. I think we got more HD images of the suit in full res, full color. I'm a big fan of it. What do you guys think?
It's crazy that we're getting like stuff like this.
Like crazy good?
Yeah, my only nitpick on the suit though is that I still miss the yellow belt.
The yellow. I mean, it's really interesting because like in recent comics, they've also gone away from the original like the yellow circle design. It's like aimed for my chest rather than everything else. And I don't know why they've gone away from it. I don't know if we've ever gotten official reasoning. It's just I think Batman is now elevating himself to the level where it doesn't matter anymore. But what? Yeah, he's a god now, literally, or he's going to be a god, and new comics coming up, and we'll talk about that a little bit at the end.
He's all anime robots.
Yes, and today, well, Batman's going to be he's going to be a new god, and he's also going to be Jim Gordon in a robot bat suit coming up in a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna.
That the new god thing was going to happen.
What were you saying, Nick?
No, I was gonna say that it's like going back to the whole set photos. It's kind of crazy, even though that like there's hardly any security on the set, and they're just like people are just literally on the sidewalk filming this scene, like crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they know. Like, part of me is thinking like a lot of it has to do with the fact that they realize it's unfortunate, but you're not going to be able to get 100% security coverage, and it's going to be impossible to get, say, like no photos at all, and enforce that strictly. And part of me thinks it's an intentional thing. Like, they want to build as much hype as possible for this movie. And give people some proof of concept, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it is free publicity for them in any way, so.
Yeah, which is more than we can say for, like, the Fantastic Four reboot, because we don't know barely anything about it up until now.
They've kept that completely quiet, just about. And I think they did most of the shooting for that in studio. Yeah, inside, as Josh just said. But yeah, I guess also I'll just pan over here. Josh is here. So
Josh yes.
He doesn't give a shit. But I'm the one that cares about you, audience. But no, audience of 0. Yep, what Josh knows. So Suicide Squad, we've gotten a ton of set picks. Just today we got some shots of Deadshot, as Nick mentioned earlier, climbing down a building. And I really wanted to, like, I never got the chance to post this in response to that, but I really wanted to just post that, like, old school picture of Batman and Robin climbing up the side of a building. He's going to be
That
doing the
was
same. He's chasing Batman there, but
Yeah,
we also
I
have
think the video is like actually him rappelling down into the bed of a truck as it drives away. That's the scene that they're.
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
cool
how
to
much
see.
you get that mask on?
Yeah, it zips up in the back. You can't. Really. It's a really cool suit, and it was good to see it like in action. It's very tactical, but I also like I love the lens on it. The lens on the helmet is really kind of sick.
To be, I think the lens is on the wrong eye.
The lens is on the wrong eye. I don't know, man. Maybe he's left-handed, is what Josh has just told me. But so let's actually get into this real quick. Will Smith is left-handed, apparently, not Deadshot. But let's get into Jai Courtney's comments. Now, he was speaking to SpotlightReport.com to promote his other new movie, Terminator Genesis, in which he plays, I believe he's Kyle Reese in that. He's the father of John Connor.
Yeah.
And he said, and I quote, "Suicide Squad's really great, man. I'm really excited about it. The vibe on set's fantastic. We've really found a sort of family atmosphere out there. The cast are fantastic, and I'm working with some wonderful actors. And David Ayer is someone who, I mean, he was the real draw card for me. I hadn't read a script at all when I signed on. We met on a couple of occasions, and we'd spoken. And to be honest, when he told me that the role of Captain Boomerang was what he was thinking, I kind of cringed because I wasn't a comic book kid. I wasn't familiar with the DC universe and the history of that. So I knew nothing about it, and I was like, oh god, Captain Boomerang, really? I don't know how the Australians will react to this. And he laughs. And it's funny because something like that you want to do right, and it's been interesting finding the balance. But he's the perfect guy to have on your side because you look at some of the comic books and some of the old 60s stuff is so hammy, you know, and kind of camp. You get a guy like David Ayer at the helm of a thing like this, and it really gets kind of dark and gritty, and, you know, awesome. He's a stickler for authenticity. So I think what we're going to create is going to be really, really cool. And then when asked about Jared Leto's portrayal, Courtney briefly confirmed it's out there, man. So lots to dissect there. I think a lot of people might kind of shrug, kind of take a look at the comments about how the 60s were so camp, and then David Ayer is going to make it dark and gritty. But he kind of brings it back in with a stickler for authenticity. So it's like he might be trying to combine. It'll be like kind of a dark, maybe like a dark look at these characters, but also keeping at the heart of their original 60s campiness. I don't know. But so what do you guys think about Jack Courtney's comments there?
I think what Ayer had always envisioned for the movie is like to keep it, to kind of bring it down to like a grounded level, but also to keep the spirit of like the original John Ostrander comics, you know, because that's what he researched a lot of. So I think it'll be really cool to see what he does.
I agree completely. I mean, David Ayer was a guy, like, I hadn't seen End of Watch, I hadn't seen any of his other movies, and then I watched Fury, and this was right after I think he signed on for Suicide Squad, and Fury blew me away. I'll be honest with you. It wasn't like the best movie, but it was one of my favorite movies last year. And he was able to bring like a level of immersion and intensity into certain scenes, specifically the fight scenes, that I had not experienced before, like in a really long time at least. It's very rare. But and Fury, like I said, it ended up being one of my favorite movies for that, and that really kind of sold me on Ayer. I guess in a way, like Jack Courtney said, Ayer sold him on the movie. I was sold on Ayer from Fury.
Yeah, I think he's a good actor's director too.
Exactly. He really, like, that's the thing that I've heard is he gets I say he gets down and dirty, but he kind of does with his actors. He's not a guy that's just going to sit in the chair. He'll get up and around, it seems. But yeah, so I don't know. What else? He made other, like, the Jared Leto Joker comments are also the really big draw there. It's out there, which seems to be what we all had been thinking, right?
Yeah, it's funny too because Scott Eastwood was talking about like how he was afraid to approach him on set like the first time he was there.
He's like, he's crazy. He's crazy. But and that's just in line with everything we've seen. And the other big news out of Suicide Squad is that we might actually get the official logo next week, I believe. There's something going on next week. It's escaping me right now. Do you know what it is?
Yeah, it's the licensing expo. It's every year. It's at Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. So yeah.
That's what I'm hearing is we might actually get some. We might actually get the official logo and some other official looks at the beginning of Suicide Squad stuff there, as well as a couple of I guess.
It's cool because they announced like in the little press release thing that they said that they're going to be partnered with the Lego Group too for Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad. So
Yeah.
Really?
Zach is suddenly interested. They've drawn him in. It's a
yeah,
trap.
so they're gonna show the sets off. Maybe I don't know.
All right,
Well,
we
if
have.
all the sets are that good, maybe I'll get them.
I think it's really interesting because you've got a potential. That was the thing. Is like I was hearing that all this Suicide Squad kind of merchandising would be aimed more toward an adult audience, but then you hear this thing about Lego, and it's kind of crazy that they're gonna bring that out for this movie. But it makes sense. I can definitely see all of them as Lego characters. Oddly enough.
Yeah. Speaking of which, are they going to call it Suicide Squad? Because I've heard that they were going to probably change the name, but I don't know if it's true or not. So are they going to keep it as Suicide Squad?
I haven't heard that they're going to change it. The only thing I've heard them refer to it as is what was the code name, Nick? Was it was like Bravo?
Bravo 14. That's just like the shooting title though that they try to trick people with though.
For sure.
But,
like Blue Harvest.
Yeah. So I from what I've heard on set like videos and stuff, like even David Ayer has called it Suicide Squad. Like, so I don't know if that's going to be official or not. So
I mean, they might change it. Like, the only thing I can see them changing it to is maybe like Task Force X. If they decide Suicide Squad is a little too adult. Kind of like the only comparable scenario that I've seen to something like that is when they took. It was the Tom Cruise movie Edge of Tomorrow or Live Die Repeat, whichever we want to go.
Yeah.
And it was originally named Generation Kill, I believe.
no, all you need is kill.
All you need is kill, which is the
Japanese novel.
Yeah.
It's the manga comic.
Yeah.
All you need is to kill.
Really? So they changed that. Task Force X, from ConCon. We've got a question here from you'll just know your question. I'm not going to try to pronounce your name. How much of this is actually a Suicide Squad movie opposed to Batman versus Joker? I get the feeling, what I'm hearing, that it's going to be much more Suicide Squad. Batman is only going to have a brief cameo because he was just on set. I was going to say Bruce Wayne. Ben Affleck was just on set for. It was a day, I think. It wasn't even like a week. He was just there for that one day of shooting and then gone. And then they had the stuntman. My guess is that's going to be a flashback of some sort with the Joker and Harley Quinn, or maybe it'll be the end of the movie. Maybe that's the final scene, is the Joker escaping with Harley.
From what I've heard, like from sources that I know, the Batman scene is like a flashback sequence in Gotham City. So
I can definitely see that, because there's also like the other rumor was Batman was there. Batman's going to be a unifying force for this team. Like, everyone's going to have a flashback, I think, because we also saw Deadshot's flashback where he's shopping at Christmas in Gotham, and a guy in a Batman suit, at least like a stunt suit, was there as well. So I think maybe Batman is what they bond over. They're like, man, F that guy, he sucks.
You put half of them in prison, so.
Yeah, exactly. And I would love to get that in there rather than just have them be in prison. Like, that's such a universe-building thing that they could actually use. But yeah, so why is Cillian Murphy talking to a Batman's cowl? Because that's what I do. I am the Scarecrow. And thoughts on Nowhere Man. Somebody, yo no soy familiar.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with Nowhere Man, sorry. But yeah, I was going to ask, what do you guys feel about the Joker, though, like from what we've seen in the set photos, like where he's driving around in the car and all that, and he has the suits on and stuff, like...
Well, I'll like 2 seconds when CJ's done.
He's very clearly damaged. He tattooed it right on his forehead for us. I'm on the fence about the tats. Like, it makes sense for the character. I could have seen him without it, but I think I'm open to the new take. I think Jared Leto, like I said, my biggest thing is as long as it's well acted, it's convincing, and you get the heart of the character right, I'm good with it. And Jared Leto, honestly, probably one of the better actors of our generation, of the generation that's happening right now, because he's actually like way older than I am. But yeah, I say our generation, like he's the generation before me. But he's a fantastic actor. He particularly plays those damaged characters pretty well, and this might be his most damaged yet. But it seems to go hand in hand with the Harley Quinn look. I mean, they've kind of got the his and hers tattoos going. But
Yeah, me personally, recently I've gotten really, really, really on the fence with the whole tattoos thing. Because I mean, do we really need to like a big red flag saying, "Ooh, I'm Venom. Look at me. I'm City. I'm a killer. Woohoo!"
well, that was a pretty good joke. Like that wasn't a pretty good Joker impression, but that is kind of what the Joker sounds like. So maybe.
Subtlety for me, but like you said, I mean, as long as it's well acted and well written, I'll begrudgingly let the tattoos slide.
My bigger issue is the no eyebrows. It's personal preference.
Eyebrows, because I keep forgetting.
That's what really weirds me out. Like, and it's that's part of the I guess the mystique, the magnificence. As who called him magnificent? Who said he was going to be majestic? Was the word? Was it David?
Mayimbe, I think. Or
Mayimbe.
no, it was Ayer maybe actually.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
No eyebrows. But what do you think, Nick? I know you got thoughts on it.
I was gonna say just briefly. My only argument to the whole like the tattoos are not subtle or something like how much of a difference does it make if whether it's subtle or not? Like whether he has the tats or not? Like he's a freaking walking clown for Christ's sake. I mean, he's walking around spouting jokes and like killing people. I mean, I don't think the tattoos are gonna make big deal.
I don't know. It's just the appeal of the tattoos just doesn't really make much sense in terms of his in terms of my interpretation of the character. But I don't know. I could be wrong here. I'm open to being wrong on this.
All right, we're going to go back to another question here. How much money will Suicide Squad need to make to be successful? This is rough. My guess that the budget is probably like, what would you think the budget is right now, Nick? Like what's
I'm gonna say the budget's 150, and then it has to make probably 600 to be good.
They're doing a lot of on location shoots. I'm not sure how much that'll affect it. I admire like the dedication to the practical effects and stuff like that. I would side with you. It doesn't have to make $1 billion to be successful.
No.
I would say as long as it doubles its money, it'll probably get a sequel. But I think right around $500 million or more, 600 million, 700 million, right in that range is probably right where they want it to be deemed a success.
Yeah, if it can make like 200 domestic, it's fine.
But I'm kind of torn because it's way too early to call. We haven't seen a trailer. All we've gotten is kind of a very light feel for the movie based on what we've seen, what Ayer has shown us, what we've seen on set. And it seems like it's going to be a cool movie, first and foremost. I think there are a lot of people that are going to go see it because it looks like sort of a visual spectacle. But beyond that, I'm a little worried that the tone might scare some people away. And I know it's maybe too early for me to say that, and I agree with it. And I'm not going to be scared away for sure. But we'll see. I think a lot of it, I don't want to say like a lot of it has to do with Batman vs. Superman, but a lot of it will have to do with their marketing campaign. They've got to sell to people that Suicide Squad is what they want to see, if that makes sense. So,
yeah.
But
I think it'll be marketed as like an over-the-top kind of like Ocean's 11 type of film, like this team-up that's kind of out there.
Which is exactly what you should go for.
And I think that's pretty perfect. I can see them going with something like that. I could see it maybe being something of a sleeper hit. I think it might not, depending on the buzz it generates. Who knows? I know DC is probably going to put a lot of money into it, and so that'll have something to do with it.
Yeah. So
let's see. I think the pink Lambo I'm down with. One, it's a cool car. Two, I think it kind of fits with the theatricality of the character. It almost reminds me a little more of like Nicholson's Joker. It's something that his Joker would have done. It's like, I'm going to drive a flashy car rather than Ledger's Joker, who just didn't care. And in that way, I'm glad that we're returning to that kind of iteration of the character. But
yeah, the pink Lamborghini's not that bad.
I like it. I can see that. I can see the toy sales now.
Yeah.
All right.
We should probably move on though, because we kind of talked about this for like 18 minutes already.
Dragon Ball Z with Ronda Rousey as Android 18. Yes, Josh. Yes. Dude, she actually looks like Android 18. I'm not shocked. Okay, so we actually got a comment here about Arkham Knight. What do you think about the new Batman game? We'll just briefly address this. I am very excited for it. I loved Arkham Asylum. I loved Arkham City even more. I played Arkham Origins. It wasn't really for me. But we'll see. I think Arkham Knight, now that Rocksteady's back at the helm, will be very good. It seems like they're pulling out all the stops with everything. Like it's playable. Everything that is playable, all the characters that are playable, all the skins. We had another question about this as well. Let me go. Okay, I can't find the question. So.
I think they were asking about like costumes or something. Hang on.
Do you think in the Batman game that the uniforms of all the characters are going to be different? I would say different to the movies. Yes, for sure. Other than that, I'm not so sure what was meant by that. But I'm very excited. Are you guys excited for Arkham Knight?
It looks pretty cool.
It looks very cool. I'm looking forward to it. I'm a little bummed that the suits that I want, the pack of the suits that I want, is only available on Steam, and I don't have a computer that can run the game. So.
Here's my question though: why does the Batman Beyond skin look so weird?
It's Arkham Knight Beyond.
That's my pretty big gripe for me too. I was like, why did they just?
That was my favorite thing about Arkham City was the Batman Beyond skin. That was one of I loved doing that, like putting that skin on and going to just wreck people in the challenge maps.
Yeah. I mean,
it looks like the thing that I first thought of when I saw it was the Ultimate Sith edition of Force Unleashed. It looks like the Sith Warrior, the Apprentice. I'll show you that later because you'll like it. But
yeah,
it looks really cool.
I mean, the Batman Beyond suit's not that hard. It's just like a red symbol on the suit with like the spikes on the arm and then the belt. That's pretty much it. It's entirely.
It looks, but it's not Batman Beyond. It's essentially the gripe. But the Dark Knight Returns skin is pretty cool there as well. So.
Also, they got the Nightfall. No, not Nightfall. Flashpoint.
Yes, but that one's for like the season pass, which might actually make me buy the season pass.
That one's really cool too.
He says, "Don't give in. Don't give in."
I'm not a fan of DLC in general, though. So.
All right. To answer your question, is Killian Murphy the one speaking about you, or the one using the Hybrid Network account right now? I'm speaking. Josh is actually also on the account. He's typing in the questions. The joke is that he does not look like Killian Murphy, so he's the scarecrow.
Josh is clairvoyant.
Yeah. Josh is insulting me. Hybrid Army, beat him up. But no. How can Hybrid Army be a party? It's a coup. It's going to be the White Sheep Army after this.
Yeah. Sheep has returned.
With the success of All You Need Is Kill, Edge of Tomorrow, do you think we'll see any other popular anime/manga turn into movies? It's difficult to say. I mean, I think we've gotten into this weird state where there's more. I think there's more anime coming out right now that people are getting really into. My thing is, I'm just gonna pose a question to you guys. I don't know how much you guys follow anime. I've always said that if you gave me an unlimited budget and said just go for it, like you can make a TV show or a movie out of any anime you want, I would turn Death Note into like a 13-episode TV miniseries.
Aren't they doing that with a movie?
I loved. I don't think they're doing. They did a Death Note movie. They did a Death Note movie. I haven't watched it, but I love. That's my favorite anime of all time. So same question to you guys. If you,
they are coming out with Ghost in the Shell and Attack on Titan, aren't they?
They're doing an Attack on Titan movie, which has gotten a little bit of criticism because it looks cool, and from a CG standpoint, it looks incredible. But it doesn't center around the same characters. The same characters are there, but they've invented characters for the film that are going to be the main, so to speak.
Yeah, I have yet to see the actual series, though.
All right. Do you guys have any more thoughts on that question, or do you want to move on to the next topic that we're going to talk about? All in favor, say aye.
No, hopefully the Akira movie happens at some point.
Yes! Oh my God, that would be incredible.
Can we finally get Steam Boy a live-action movie, please?
I would love to see Akira live-action. It needs to happen.
Steam Boy live-action movie. I want Steam Boy.
So let's talk about these Wolverine comments. Hugh Jackman talked about Wolverine 3, his retirement, X-Men Apocalypse. Most of this is him evading playfully as Hugh Jackman evades. When asked about Deadpool and asked about a possible Deadpool cameo, he said, I can't really speak about it. Nope. And they said, but I am really good mates with Ryan Reynolds. So when asked about Apocalypse, he replied, who knows? And then when he was asked about retirement and why he felt like it was the time to retire, he said, there was a period about 6 years ago when I could see my choices being narrowed by being Wolverine, but now I feel like they've opened up from doing Les Mis or Prisoners or Pan. The options coming to me right now are more varied than they've ever been in my life. Hopefully I'm not that actor in 10 years who's unemployed going, why did I ever leave it, and begging to come back. And he says, I think specifically on his on why he chose to retire, he just said that he felt it was time to move on, describing that he'd rather leave the party than be kicked out, which I kind of agree with. He's played the character at this point. What people don't realize is by the time Wolverine 3 comes out, he'll have played the character for 18 years.
Yeah, that's just insane to think about.
Absolutely.
That's almost as long, if not longer, than Kevin Conner playing Batman.
Yeah, I can't really think of a player. I can't really think of an actor that's really played the same character for that long and appeared in as many movies. He certainly is one of the very few. And he really redefined who Wolverine is to a lot of comic book fans. Well, maybe not to a lot of comic book fans, but he is Wolverine to a mainstream audience. And he jokingly in the same interview talked about being replaced, and he's like, who knows? Maybe they've already got a guy signed to an 11-picture deal right now. I really doubt. I think they're going to be without Wolverine for a long, long time because Hugh Jackman is. He might not be Wolverine. Some older comic book fans. I know, specifically folks like my stepdad, the guy that got me into comics. To him, Wolverine is always going to be the Wolverine from 80s X-Men. But
yeah, I think it's clear that the Fox's new direction is to focus on the newer mutants, the younger cast that they brought on. So
yeah, they're finally kicking the Wolverine titty.
But Death Note is the anime that your emo friends watched during high school. I was a scene kid, kind of, so I guess. But it's still really good. Quality-wise, I think that story is better than anyone else.
So White Sheep was once an emo.
I wasn't, well, kind of. Death Note's pretty normal for high school kids. Yeah, it was. It was Charlie Sheen has played Charlie Sheen since Ferris Bueller. Josh, thank you very much for your comment on that. I guess I'm not going to put you guys on the spot and ask, hey, who could play Wolverine if they recast it? I'm just going to ask, do you think he's going to show up in Deadpool or X-Men Apocalypse? What do you guys think?
I'm expecting a Deadpool cameo.
All right.
I think they would be. I think it would be a mistake if he wasn't in Deadpool to some capacity.
I agree. I think even if it's just a cutaway or something like that, because for some reason I feel like this film is going to have a lot of the Family Guy cutaways where they just suddenly throw to something else. And actually that's a good idea. UCD3AD. I do think they will probably if they have to replace him, I think they will replace him with X-23. And now's the time to do it since they kind of. I guess she kind of showed up in X2. Was that her in X2? No. That wasn't her?
Was it?
My bad. Okay.
Wait, did they have a X2 reference in Origins?
I don't know.
Or did I miss it?
Moving on, let's talk about the other big news coming out of the comic book world and the comic book TV world today. Zac Efron would make a good Wolverine.
No.
Jackie Earle Haley for Wolverine.
I could see it. I could see it. That's essentially he's essentially halfway between Wolverine and the super gritty Miller Batman, but you're not locked in here, or I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here. The other big news coming out of the comic book world, for a couple days at least, Thursday, Friday, and then by today it's all of course wrapped up. Is Master Jason Statham came out. I think Thursday it came out. Jason Statham was rumored to be playing Bullseye in Daredevil Season 2, and this pretty much was met with literal universal acclaim. I don't think there was a single person who was that sounds like a bad idea. Why would you do that? I think everybody was this is great. Jason Statham's already bald. He's not even going to have to shave his head for this. But more than that, he's an incredible action actor, been in some of the most iconic action movies of the last decade. Of course, this was reported by Latino Review, and the very next day, a new report from a site whose name I cannot remember alleged that the Latino Review report actually killed it. They killed the dream, because as soon as Latino Review reported it, everybody went crazy. The site speculated, or it compiled some reports or something like that, essentially alleging that Statham's agent might have. Long story short, after the Latino Review report came out, talks died immediately, and the website kind of speculates that it was because after near universal acclaim, Statham's agent decided to ask for more money, and after that it was dead in the water. So
Latino Review.
Yeah, but and I was really surprised. I thought Mayimbe was their main scoopster, and this would of course have been a big scoop for them post Mayimbe. Now that he's off doing Heroic Hollywood, and he's been doing great things there so far. But I guess main question on Jason Statham and Bullseye thing. On a scale of 1 to 10, guys, how sad are you, and who would you cast as Bullseye now?
Bring back what's his name from the movie?
Colin Farrell.
Yeah, he was great.
He was.
Yeah.
My thing is, somebody asked me a question once, and they said, CJ, if you had to pick someone that's going to go through like a Ben Affleck career renaissance, who's the next guy that's going to go through that career renaissance? Who's it going to be? My answer to that for the last 2 years has been Colin Farrell, and I think with him being in True Detective this year, that's going to happen. But we will totally see that. But I would be fine with it. I just think maybe at this point even he's a little too big for the role. But Zach, on a scale of 1 to 10, how sad are you, and who would you guess?
Is there like a notch for like 11, because that's how upset I am?
Yeah, Zach's the world's biggest Transporter fan.
Come on, guys, Jason Statham. That's like a win casting, and now it's gone. So
exactly, it would have been like an incredible get. That would have drawn a lot of people into Daredevil season 2 as it is, and he also probably would have been able to help with like the stunt work and some of the scene coordination. But that is of course no longer the case. If Jason Statham played Bullseye, he would be Jason Statham, not Bullseye. That's actually a pretty good point. That's a thing that I thought.
That's kind of a good point.
I really don't have anyone that I would really cast at this point. I think at this time they're probably going to go. They're probably going to go with a no-name actor, and it seems like that's who they're looking at for Elektra too. Although for Elektra, for money, I would love to see Sophia Boutella, the chick that played the Gazelle in Kingsman. I think she brings the right kind of. She kicked ass in that movie. I think she's golden for Elektra, but.
Except that we already got Bullseye in Daredevil season 1. He was the sniper.
Yeah, we did, but we don't know who it is.
Yet though.
That's another Damien Poitier situation where they're going to recast him with Josh Brolin.
Yeah.
Poor Damien Poitier.
Yeah.
Can you show us pictures during your scene phase? No, and that will remain a state secret. But, I will tell you my hair was a lot worse. If you think I need a haircut now, I needed a haircut then.
Yeah.
Badly.
That's my confidence. My hair looks better than yours.
Thank you. And now I guess to wrap up the tiny show, we're going to talk about briefly about the Marvel and DC comics, what's going on there, because Marvel is of course in the midst of 2015's reiteration of Secret Wars. Natalie Dormer as Bullseye, yes. But that would actually make me much more excited to watch season 2, and I'm already really excited to watch season 2. Josh is looking at me. What are you even talking about? But of course, Marvel's in the midst of their kind of Secret Wars Part 2 kind of thing that's going on, and DC's of course just relaunched their universe post-Convergence. Although it isn't even like a relaunch; it's more like a jumping-on point with all the new 1s and 41s. And I say this, I've been reading for the last 2 days. I was really busy Wednesday and Thursday, but Friday and Saturday I just dedicated my entire day to reading pretty much most of the number 1s and 41s that came out this week, and I'm really, really pleasantly surprised with the good majority of them. I put a bunch of reviews up. If you haven't noticed, go check them out. Right now, tops for me, Oh, it's so tough. I think if you go off the score, tops for me is probably still Omega Men, or Midnighter. Number one is a really close second. Josh is voting for Midnighter because hashtag equality.
It's just so great because
He's Midnighter. He kicks ass and chews bubblegum. And he chewed no bubblegum in that issue. He was hilarious. It was fantastic.
it's like if Batman would have had Dick Grayson's personality, he's a super flamboyantly aggressive.
I'm not sure if you any of you heard that, but he's like if Batman was Dick Grayson.
Yeah, basically it's like Dick Grayson Batman.
If Dick Grayson Batman was like really aggressive and flamboyantly gay.
I say gay.
Gay and flamboyantly aggressive, excuse me. And that is actually probably the most accurate description of that character that I've ever heard. But it was fantastic all the more. So I guess if you guys have, I'm not sure if, Zach, I'm not sure if you've picked up a DC comic this week. But Nick, what's your favorite that you've read so far?
I probably Justice League still, but I mean that's kind of a book that's already kind of gone. So I guess from the new stuff, I'll say Action Comics, the new direction. It's actually really interesting, and I
need to read that one still. I'm hesitating because of Superman's new Tap Out T-shirt, but
Yeah.
Okay. Josh he's interrupting. Calm down, sir. Oh my God.
yeah, that's the problem though, that people stereotype the new Superman book. They're like, oh, he's just some dude like with a T-shirt now, but like it actually explains why. Like he's kind of like he has like no money now. He's like unemployed. He has like nothing. Like
So I'm Superman, guys. Good news. But no, I always knew people were overreacting to it a little bit. I made that Tap Out T-shirt joke in one of my reviews and felt like I should share. But really underrated for me is I picked up Bizarro, and Zach, I'm gonna recommend that you look at Bizarro because it was a good damn book. Did you read that, Nick?
no, I haven't read. I have Bizarro and Batman. I haven't read them yet though.
Bizarro is stupid fun. It was fantastic.
Zach, pick up a DC comic? Are we in Bizarro World?
Are we? We will be once you read Bizarro, but
I've heard Joel say some good things about it, so I'm thinking about checking it out, maybe.
It's heartwarming. It's fun. It makes you root for Bizarro, which is really good. Or it makes you, I guess, not opposite day. You root for Bizarro. But
yeah.
Josh is really confused. Watch my review.
Dude, even Action Comics, that issue was heartwarming. You get to see Superman at like a birthday party or something, like hanging out like with people.
But that's the thing is, what?
He's eating corn on the cob in that comic. It's amazing.
Huh. All right.
That's it.
I'm doing the thing here, Josh. Please, but no. So I mean, it's really interesting because I made this comment at the end of my Midnighter review that Omega Men and Midnighter are two prime examples of stories that don't seem to fit into what's going on in the larger DC universe, but they're still damn good stories. And so I referenced Dan Didio's comments about story trumping continuity, and I mean, at this point, from what I've read, fans of DC Comics and people that were worried by that statement have no reason to be worried because so far the stories have been just excellent. Green Lantern number 41, another great book. Green Lantern, Hal's now essentially Han Solo, which is just a huge get, and he's Michael Jackson it. He's got like one glove. It's real cool. It sounds like I'm joking, but I kind of was joking because it is actually really good. But real big fan of that book as well.
Yeah.
I guess I'm looking forward to I've still got to read Bat-Mite and review that, but let's kick it over to Secret Wars. I have been loving Secret Wars so far too. Like I love Jonathan Hickman, and I really love the way the story is going. This last issue I thought was really kind of cool because you find out that like all these people, and it's really interesting that I think it was worth noting, and I think it was Josh that noted it to me. All of the people that were in the life rafts don't have versions of themselves in Battle World, which is really kind of crazy and cool. Because there was no Reed, there was no Black Panther, no Cyclops or Phoenix, etc.
There was a Reed though.
There was a where?
In the first
Ultimate
issue.
Reed.
Where was he in the first? Like
Like,
In
remember
Secret
when yeah, in the first issue, remember Doom, he was like the leader of that one world that was like fighting over the other guy, and they were like fighting in that death ring in the, like right in front of Doom at his like,
was that Reed or was that Braddock?
no, that was supposed to be a version of Reed, like in this universe.
Oh.
You can tell, like, you can easily tell, like, just looking at his face, the artwork, like, it looks exactly like Reed.
I'll double check it. He says there was a version of Reed in Secret Wars. That was Secret Wars #2, I think, because #1 just set everything up.
Oh, yeah, two, right. Yeah, the Game
The
of
battle?
Thrones one.
No, that was Mr. Sinister.
Wait, where?
It was the fight was between Mr. Sinister and Captain Britain.
No, but he was originally supposed to fight, and then Captain Britain stepped in. Like, his younger brother. He was, like, the brother of that dude. He,
Okay,
like, went to the wall and all that.
I digress. But
Yeah, he was in there.
he's gonna read it right now. But I mean, I think it was really cool. Like my favorite moment in that comic was in that specific issue was, it's like, who's this god that you keep talking about, Strange? And Strange goes, it's Victor Von Doom, and everybody's faces are the best. Everybody's just like, Reed's jaws on the floor. But it's been like, and Reed's flipping out. He's like, you kept us in stasis an extra 3 years and didn't tell us that Doom was God. Blah, 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 blah. And it's
Yeah, I feel like his worst nightmares come true.
exactly. He's God. He's omnipotent, and he stole your woman, and he stole your children. It's issue 2 because issue 1 was just about there.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's got a
That
very
sounds an awful. No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it feels very Game of Thronesy so far, and Game of Thrones is great, so I've been digging it.
Yeah, the whole event kind of sounds a lot like those Secret Wars episodes that were in the Spider-Man '94 series. Because last I remember, Doom was also became a god there too.
I'm just waiting for like Beyonder to show up because I'm thinking like we don't know what happened. We're finding out piece by piece because this issue we found out more of like how Strange and Doom built Battleworld and how Doom became God. My guess is when they attacked the Beyonders head on, and we didn't see Doom and Strange after that. My guess is that we actually at that point Beyonder kind of like made a deal with them or something like that. And we're going to see Beyonder later, and I hope we see him within the next couple issues. But I've been digging it so far. How do you think Doom was made God? I think that's something that the Beyonder did. I think the Beyonder was causing the incursions, and the Beyonders, I guess, were like a manifestation of himself or something like that. But I'm really not quite sure how he became God. We've only gotten bits and pieces so far, but I think as omnipotent as Beyonder is, I think Beyonder probably gave him the power. But
the guy that says was supposed to fight is Braddock.
James Braddock is the guy that was originally supposed to fight.
That was just Captain Britain.
Yeah.
That one,
Wait, I thought Billy Braddock was Billy Braddock is the Spider Captain Britain, wasn't it?
can't remember.
Yeah, Billy Braddock is Spider UK.
He's pretty great.
But Blind Braddock is the blonde that ends up actually fighting.
Doom was a god once. He found it to be beneath him. Doom took the power of the Beyonder in the original Secret Wars. He absorbed the rest of Beyonder's powers or something. It could be that. That's interesting. That's an interesting theory. My only thing is because their plan completely failed. So I'm kind of wondering how they ended up in this position after their plan completely failed. I also like that in this issue we got more background on it's only been 8 years, which is kind of surprising because I expected it to have been thousands of years somehow. But they're also using some little mental tricks to keep people from remembering the old worlds. So
I think more will be revealed in issue 4.
I think that's how it, the natural progression of things. We should find out. Especially since the Cabal are now cornered by the Thor Corps. So it's getting to be...
it would also explain a lot it would also explain a lot why Gwen and all the other guys in Spider-Verse #1 can't remember a thing.
Yep. And I'm also, Zach, if you get a chance to read Armor Wars, I recommend it, but the Spider-Man of that world gets wrecked. Completely destroyed. That's
now you just hopes and drink.
the last panel of that issue is him like with a gaping hole in his like because the whole thing about Armor Wars is he has to like everyone has to wear armor to survive, and that's the last thing is his like mask is broken open and he's like got a gaping hole in his chest because somebody killed him, probably Arno Stark. I digress. Yeah, there are many Beyonders now, and it's really interesting because those Beyonders look nothing like the Beyonder. Unless that's what the Beyonder actually looks like, which is a possibility, I suppose you could say. But it's also, I think, possible that the Beyonder just created them as, I guess, soldiers. But talk about Game of Thrones more. I really loved the last episode. I feel like it was better than most of the episodes of the season so far. Real cool. The last like 20 minutes were like best TV so far in 2015. So, yeah. Well, no, Miles remembers the world before because Miles, I think everybody in the Life Raft remembers. Like, everybody in the Life Rafts, they remember the old world, and they're trying to figure it out. It was everyone that was in the world and had been in the world for the 8 years that have now forgot, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
That was the big thing is like Miles or Strange made the comment. Strange made the comment about like, wait, you remember? Because they were in the Life Raft for so long. It looks like he would be a Targaryen. Targaryens the same kids the Game of Thrones world. Yeah, I was a Targaryen. Like I don't know if I could say, but like before it was cool, because before it was cool there were a lot of them. So that's kind of like not cool.
Yeah.
I know. He's my fan, but I would prefer to be like a Stark cool, or even not like Mormonts. I hope we get to like know more about like the Reeds, because the Reeds are pretty badass. Like Howland Reed is pretty great. But yeah, I guess really we probably we ought to wrap this up because we've been going for like 45 minutes now.
Yeah.
So, all right. Any final comments? Any final thoughts on the movies, the relaunches, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, we did finally look at all the Marvel characters we're going to see.
Yes,
yeah, we didn't really talk about the new MU, all new, different, whatever.
All new, all different. Marvel Universe. Well, and that's really interesting. The big thing for me is the female Wolverine, but even that, like, I'm cool with because it's like they took X-23, and it's not like, it may not seem like a natural progression for her character, but it's not like they gender bended Wolverine.
Even though you could argue that X-23 is anyway.
Old Man Logan's going to be there, too, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Josh is actually, we've got some asking where Josh is. Josh is responding to your comments in the thread.
I literally just joined
live stream.
Whoa.
Whoa. Echo.
Josh is gone.
We'll talk about the new MU, I guess, next episode.
Hey, there I am.
We're having a conversation. The worlds are going to be destroyed.
We're all going to...
I'm having too much fun with this.
All right, signing off. I'm CJ.
And I'm Zach when it's still out there.
Alright, so is it UCD380? Like,
Yeah.
is it like you're supposed to say it like each individual, or is it like an acronym, or like... I like this echo. Let's keep it going.
I have no going on.
This is the ball.
Hello.
All right, guys. Enjoyed the fourth episode. All right.
It's over.
All right, guys. We'll see you next.
Yeah,
And one podcast.
Yeah, the new Marvel podcast already recorded. It'll be up on Tuesday, and hopefully DC one will be up Wednesday. So.
Yeah.
All right, we will see you next week.